minute. So, with no further ado, I want to present to you, first and foremost, let me read the description. All right, Hollywood Decoded presents All Roads Lead to Wakanda. Close your eyes, except for one, and envision a world of beautiful people of melanin hue, building together, growing with one another. Back strong with chins up, reaching and grasping the stars, a promising future secured by a powerful connection with the ancestors and the inherent knowledge and wisdom on how to channel that force to fuel the society as a whole. Commerce, technology, education, defense, health, agriculture, and community at a level only our forefathers have dreamt in the underworld. Right. Shout out to my trick-or-treaters. Now, in our current state, imagine a vehicle in the form of a silver screen, as the moon is the energy of dreams or a portal of sorts, offering an opportunity to transcend time and space to a dimension that is one with your vision. Many years ago, a path was paved in a form of hidden meanings and symbols underlying film. The projector projects coherent light and sound. Through the process of this voyage, a powerful connection with our ancestors were made, for they were encoded in plagiarized scripture of our mythos. It has come to pass the moment where fact and fiction has reached singularity in the form of the black hole and Interstellar, and the manifestation of Epidemic in the form of the Black Panther. By way of DC and the Marvel comic universe, one thing is now for certain. No matter what path you choose, if you're true, all roads lead to Wakanda. So please join KTL and Know the Ledge Radio as we announce the Hollywood Decoded Tour. All roads lead to Wakanda. We will never go over the synchronistic, serendipitous tale. Oh, we will go over the synchronistic, serendipitous tale of Hollywood Decoded thus far and what is in store for the future and beyond. So with no further ado, call from the 404-492.
Peace to the red and blue.
Yes.
What's the deal, man? How y'all doing?
All is well. I already know where you're about to go. I just have a slight idea. So, I got to let this thing off early.
Hey, man. I appreciate it. I'm just, I'm going to come through and do a little something. I'm trying to catch up to y'all two, man, being down at the UN and everything,
Yo, man,
big business,
your
baby.
Brother, your mother would definitely be proud, her baby boy, man, who used to be a headache, No,
hey, man, homeboy got up on that mic and laid it down, son. I'm so proud of y'all, man, that y'all are my brothers, boy.
Brother,
I mean, you
brother,
can talk about it or you can be about it.
And they tracks, you know what I'm saying, like, to dumbfounded, like, wait, they got people that listen to hip-hop that talk like this, that think on these levels, that can engage a conversation.
Man,
at
please
this degree,
think on these levels. Not just think on these levels, think on the level.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do around this planet, you know what I'm saying, because, the doubt level is high. And I don't think the man should spend his life pretty much trying to, distinguish, should I say, the fire of other people's doubts. But if you got it, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, as the old saying goes, you know what I'm saying? If you got the light, why not let it shine? Why keep it to yourself? You know what I'm saying? Because my thing is this, like, people wait for this day out of the entire year to pretend to be somebody that they not. But if you're true to who you are, why not be that every single day of your life and let that be known? You feel me? And it really grabbed me today when I saw that. Like, these people are Christian, I'm like, no, the white man is not only the devil today. He has a lot of company. You feel me? How you going to put them horns on? So if one day out the year you dress up as the devil, does that dismiss the other days out the year that you dress down as God? You understand?
There it is.
You understand me? Like, the hypocrisy level of this shit is crazy, B.
Not just
I'm like,
any
you a Christian dressing up as the devil?
Yeah, man.
And you got your babies in it?
This is Dio Del Morto, baby. If this is the only day you dress up on as the devil, then hey.
And yeah.
What are you saying?
And my thing is, I understand the concept of the Day of the Dead and the ancestors crossing over, what have you, but that ain't in the Bible. So I'm just talking about the overall conversations that take place in society, especially on the regions of the planet like that you dwell in. You know, that's the Bible Belt, and everything is, you know, when you go out of bounds and do anything else,
real
people,
thick. It's real thick, man.
They want to create bounds and borders for you and tell you you can only go but so far over here because of this, and this is not in the book, and that's not in the book. And people be, you know, it's a raging debate in New York about religion, and everybody want to know what you think and how you feel.
But guess what? All that is well and good, and all that is fine, and I love them all for all of that, because out of 8 billion, 144,000 is still a small percentile if we want to talk religion. So there's going to be a lot of people talking about a whole lot of stuff that has nothing to do with what the main talk is supposed to be about, like Red Pill on that mic. That boy was on that mic today, son. Like, yo, let me tell you something. Hey, man. Yes, y'all too, man, for real, man. Like I said, you can talk about it and you can be about it. And if you see the steady progression and development over the years, you know, the moves that has been made has been legendary, you know, and it's just the beginning. That's what makes it so amazing, you know. So I just want to take my hats off to the two of y'all for raising the bar. Raising the bar, like who's gonna debate red and blue now? Like, for real.
Don't panic.
Man, I appreciate it.
Don't panic. We just getting started, brother. Don't panic. You know, that's the bug part about it. Is this, you know, we just getting started. You know, like I said, by this time next, when all roads lead to Wakanda, by way of that cruise, because don't think this program won't complement the announcement that we made earlier. Everything that we do comes full circle. So this information that we're talking about directly ties into the cruise.
Oh, of course it does, because that's who the Black Panther is. T'Challa is a diplomat. He goes around the world from nation to nation, creating relationships, you know, with people of you know, through the trade and education and, you know, so forth and so on. So he be up in the UN. So everything that y'all doing represents the energy of T'Challa and Wakanda. And, you know, for those who don't know, you know, what I'm talking about right now, by the end of this show, they will be well informed. So, is it time to get started, brother?
Peace, hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you there?
Yeah, my line dropped for a second. I'm back. Peace.
Okay, good.
Yes,
cool
brother.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I want you to do what it is that you do so well. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Not a problem.
All right,
so let's get started with this thing. All right, so Hollywood Decoded. What is Hollywood Decoded? Let's take it back to the beginning, shall we? What is Hollywood? For those who might not be familiar, you ever heard of the term deck the halls with balls of holly? You ever walk around in the city and you see these bright green bushes that are very sharp. If you were to rub your finger across them very fast, they touch you. They have bright red berries. Well, that's holly. That's the holly plant. Now, the wood of this particular plant was a high commodity back in the day, for it was utilized for making wands. The wizards of the past, the warlocks, the witches, and anybody who was wielding the wand at this time, most importantly Harry Potter, used wands that were crafted from the wood of the holly tree or the holly bush or the holly plant. So when you're talking about the term Hollywood, you were talking about an institution or a construct that utilized the name Hollywood to represent symbolically a magic wand, for a spell is being casted. Now, when we say spell, we don't have to get all spooked out and scared and start yelling all type of conspiracy theories and things like that, because when you sit down with your pen and your paper and you channel the energy of Tahuti, of Thoth, through the word, and you start spelling on your paper, you're casting. For isn't that what they do when they create their particular collection of characters? They have them, do they not? So all these particular terms are words to remind you and have you understand what the framework is that is being displayed to you. And in Hollywood, we are talking about magic. We are talking about a silver screen. We are talking about jumping through dimensions, whether it be time or it be other realms or worlds. Now, there's always a hidden theme behind a movie, because movies utilize maybe about a $200 million budget. Writers, when you sit and watch big budget films, sometimes the credits seem like they are as long as the film you just saw. You see about 20 different crews. You see all types of components, all types of jobs, the music, everything. There are tens of thousands of people that go into some of these productions. All of this so you can sit down and eat popcorn and drink soda and laugh and say, "Ah, man, that was so funny when he blew up." I think that there's a little bit more to the story, but it could just be me. Now, what I do is I leave these films because I see a message being made. A lot of people ask me, yo, you really think the directors, the producers, you really think the distributors have this in mind when they make the movie? They be putting all this together? I tell them, no, I don't give no man that power. All these people are vessels. They are walk-ins. They are transmitting utilities for the divine intelligence, because in an era, in a state that we are in where we are just intoxicated and imbued with all of this poison and distraction, it's hard for messages from the universe to get through to us, because it's almost as if there is a cricket at a heavy metal concert. The cricket representing your spirit connected to the source, the heavy metal concert representing the world, the society that you're in. And that cricket is trying to go as loud as it can to try and inform you about what's going to happen, what is happening, and what you need to do, but it's hard to hear it. So then there's signs and symbols and energies that come through the media to try and let us know things that are happening. So even though the news might be saying one thing, when you pay attention to the chronological order of the unfolding of events over time, you see another story happen. Because the initial presentation I did with Red Pill years ago is CNN Hollywood, or is Hollywood CNN? For CNN is the fiction and Hollywood is the fact. So this is what's going on here. You're finding that when you sit down within this dark room and you look at the silver screen, when projector is projected upon a film, you end up recognizing that there's a message being conveyed to you way beyond past a director's chair and a man made of flesh and blood. So what I do is I take what I see and I unfold the story as Inyame did to Anansi, to my people, so that they become more aware of the messages that are being told across the world in the form of the motion picture. So, when you look at Hollywood, over the past 6 years, there has been a dominating presence. I'm talking a straight-up Nephilim, Anunnaki, Watusi, straight-up giant that just came out of nowhere and just been tearing it up since. And they go by the name of Marvel. MCU, to be exact, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. See, they started out with Iron Man because we're dealing with the Iron Age. We're talking about Kali Yuga the Destroyer. This is why your man came out with the Jericho missile, and he was the weapons creator to blow everything up. But as I found out talking with my man Clico, who was on Hollywood Decoded 4.4, your man Iron Man represents that eternal battle of Heru and Set within one. You know, when you see those stellies and those bas reliefs in Kemet, when you see Heru and Set with the semi-Tawi symbol tying the upper and the lower together, that's what your boy represents, because he's constantly trying to do the good for the people, but he just has this little, he got this other side to him. Iron also represents the blood, okay? And blood is to transport oxygen through the body by way of the iron phosphate that is attached to it. So we're talking about alchemical process here. This is what they ended up using Robert Downey Jr., whose career was what they would say over and done with because of drugs and everything like that. You know, he's one of them Hollywood kids from the 80s. But what they didn't understand was he was born on April 4th. And by being born on April 4th, containing this 44 energy, as Blue Pill states so eloquently, he was the carbon resonator. He was the initial igniting force that Marvel was going to use to bring the carbon back to the forefront on the silver screen, because you and I both know, all the people who are listening, when we go sit in the movie screen, if we're not some fool or some deadbeat dad or some whore or just some type of trashy, low vibrational individual with the same trivial, petty plot going on time and time again, over and over and over. We do not see kings. We do not see scientists. We do not see dignitaries. We do not see brothers going to the UN talking about how the hip-hop community got something to say. These are things that we do not see when we go on this screen. However, there was a ritual that was recently done in Hollywood. It was a 13-year process, magical, alchemical spell that was casted by Anton Fuqua and Denzel Washington. So he came out with the training day to show all of y'all, you know, the only way that they're going to award me with Ptah, with my own energy, the Oscar, you know, because Oz represents gold, portray this energy that they really are. But after 13 cycles, I'm going to come back and I'm going to obliterate this energy and we're going to take off. So Denzel ended up coming back with The Equalizer, which is one of the first movies I've ever seen where a brother just rolls through the whole movie where he is straight up fearless in the eyes of the Caucasian, where he took the fight all the way up to the top in Moscow, defeating the Russian mafia. And there's no coincidence that the same character that he played in Training Day, also directed by Antoine Fuqua, he was assassinated by the Russian mob at the end of the movie. So now he comes back and he gets his revenge. I've never seen a Caucasian male be lynched in Home Depot on the screen before.
Yo, I was walking out of that theater with such a diddy strut, be like,
oh man, come on, man.
Precedent and my chin was so. I walked all the way from 42nd through Central Park into Harlem. That's how like just high off.
You was charged up. I saw it with my
charged.
wife, man, and we was just blown away. I mean, he was channeling the energy of Ogun. You know, in the Orishas, Ogun represents, you know, like the tinkerer, the gadgets, the weaponry, you know, the guns, things like that. So him being in Home Depot with all the gadgets, the barbed wire noose and lynch, like that's all Ogun. Then he killed them with the nail gun. Now, we all know, those of you that are wherever you are, if you go in any African community, you look at them statues, you got the statues that ward off evil. Any statue they got that wards off evil, they got a bunch of nails hammered all over the body because that represents, you know, sealing the intent to get that negative energy all off of you. And homeboy whipped out the nail gun on him.
Yeah.
Not just that.
Let me explain even the serendipity of it all. You know, as I'm preparing the Law 44, I had went on my campaign explaining to people what the training day actually was. So I see it almost like a redemptive quality, even for,
of course, 13 years,
Fury.
Right?
Yeah, because I was telling them that Antoine Fuqua directed Denzel Washington as the officer that actually the dude that Denzel got an Oscar for was for playing the cop that killed Biggie Smalls.
The Biggie Smalls, yep.
He was playing, and you can look this up, family. This is not theory. This is not, you know, my idea of what it is. This is actually what happened. Okay, the prototype for his character, Alonzo, was actually Rafael Perez. And Rafael Perez was the head of the Rampart scandal. Rafael Perez is noted by the FBI in their documents as well as the LAPD. They were protecting him. He killed Big, and David Mackey killed Tupac. You know, whether they did it for the FBI or whether they did it for Suge Knight or whoever they did it for remains part of the mystery. But Antoine Fuqua directed him in this role, and he won the Oscar, and we cheered on for the person that was noted for killing, you know, one of our quote-unquote icons, the person that we say is the best rapper alive, the greatest rapper to ever live, the King of New York, okay?
Right.
And the reason that I know I wasn't bugging was because Antoine Fuqua originally was casted as the director of Big's biopic. They passed on Antoine Fuqua, and they gave him Tupac's biopic, but Antoine Fuqua still came back and did Brooklyn's Finest. And in the last scene of Brooklyn's Finest, they played Big, right? They have Bone in the scene during the end, right, reprising his role from Training Day, and then they had a instrument that said air on it, bringing in the fusion of the Gemini, and they ended it by playing a Biggie song. So I was like, come on, B.
That's right.
I'm talking about.
That's
if you're not looking through it through Law 44, you're not going to be able to see it and make these connections. And then, like I said, even in Brooklyn's Finest, they flipped it because Ethan Hawke was now playing the adverse role that he had played in Training Day. So Antoine Fuqua has this ability as a director, like you said, to come back and take these particular roles and karmically, you know, do things with them to make these characters admonish their own quote-unquote sins. But you know what I'm talking about, you know.
That's it.
Church stuff.
That's it. So it started years ago back in 98. Marvel as a comic book company was hurting because people wasn't buying comics like that, so they licensed all their characters out to all these big production companies. That's why you see 20th Century Fox got X-Men and Sony got Spider-Man, things like that, because they had to make some money. So what really lit the flame for Marvel was Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes played Blade. He played the Daywalker. Influences all through the movie. Made a trilogy off of it. And through that movie Blade, that's how Marvel got the gall, the energy, the inspiration, the confidence to be able to step forward and say, you know what, we're gonna do this thing. It was all on the back of him. Just to come full circle to Chadwick Boseman in present day, but we're gonna get there. So I did the Hollywood Decoded 4.4, 2 years ago, over 2 years, 2.5 years ago now, where we broke down, who everybody was, how Scarlett Johansson was to be our set, because she was in the chair, and she was right there with Hawkeye being Heru. You got the Hulk representing the sword, he's the Green Man, you know what I'm saying? You got Samuel L. Jackson playing Ra with the all-seeing eye. We got into all those particular things. We broke it down to its smallest gluon, meson. Like, we went into subatomic particles in the quantum level. And after that, it's almost as if we gave that thing a boost, because Avengers made $1 billion in 19 days, took off. And every movie after Avengers was super successful, because prior to it, Captain America wasn't that successful, Thor wasn't that successful. But for some reason, after Avengers and after it, we laid out the framework of who all these characters represented, as I said before, these plagiarized conceptualizations of our mythos, the energy rang, and ended up blowing this particular thing up into a whole nother level. But it's all a plan. It's all to get somewhere. So we kept moving forward, and the next point in the road was really Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Captain America: The Winter Soldier was powerful. It was on a whole nother level. For the main reason of the title. For Captain America represents Tahuti, okay? This was definitely put down by Clico when we did the Hollywood 4.4, when he called in at the end and laid it down. Now, the whole show, I was talking about all the Tahuti influence in the film of Mercury and Hermes, Trismegistus, and Tahuti himself. And then he came in and was like, yeah, that's Captain America. So when I did Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I really went into depth on all the connections that Tahuti had with Captain America. For instance, of his shield alone, the story of Newt not being able to give birth on any of the 360 days of the year, but Tahuti ended up having a game with Ra, a game of dice. He won the game, and then winning the game, he won the 5 epigonormal days, which created a Saw set, Heru set, and Nebtet. And the shield that he has is 360 degrees with a 5-pointed star. And the thing that Tahuti won was 1/72nd, of light, of the fraction of the light spectrum. 1/72nd represents the pentagram, represents the 5-pointed star. That's exactly what is on his shield. It also represents the duat. Now, the reason why I said the Winter Soldier, the only Winter Soldier that exists up in the heavens is Sahu, better known as the Great Hunter, or you might know him as Orion, okay? He rises in the winter. Right now, he's starting to come up. He's taking over the whole sky. And Winter Soldier represents, the hunter represents Orion because he got a red star on his left shoulder. Shoot, Orion got a red star on his left shoulder in the heavens, and it's called Betelgeuse. So we see that as we look above, so is below. That's the law of correspondence. That's one of the laws of the Kabbalion written by Hermes Trismegistus, which is Tahuti. Okay, so I got into all of that. Now, what else I got into was the importance of baseball. Now, America is a baseball nation. There's no other country, city, or nation on this planet that worships baseball like America does. They call it America's pastime. Okay? Guess what? So is Captain America. He is America's pastime because he's Captain America who passed through time through 70 years, which is a bankruptcy cycle. He's also connected to the whole thing dealing with the Great Depression and the bankruptcy, that took place of the banks, but that's another story. So he went under 70 years ago in the 40s, and he was resurrected 70 years later. He passed through time. America's pastime is baseball. This term was coined by a guy called Henry Chadwick. All right? So we're gonna hold on to that, to the Henry Chadwick guy for a second. Now, when Captain America woke up in present day, he woke up, he was on 42nd Street. Okay? Black Widow, who's always rocking with him all the time, when we just saw her in Lucy, she was able to attain the mastery over time when she appeared on 42nd Street. She was able to see all the strings connected to everybody through the cell phones and the frequencies connected to the satellites when she tuned into Station 42 on the radio. Anybody who hasn't seen the movie, go back to that scene when she's in the car looking at all the cell phone frequencies and watch what channel she turns to on the radio. She turns to 42. What's so important about 42? 42 represents this illusionary holographic universe that we are within inside of. It is the color spectrum, because that is the angle that light has to bend within inside of a raindrop, within inside water, the universal solution, in order for us to be able to see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Now, when you look at the number 42, the only other 42 that broke the color barrier was Jackie Robinson, who is baseball. When Captain America woke up on 42nd Street, there was a game plan. This was the signal, the impetus that was able to tell him this is how he knew that he was not really at SHIELD headquarters. I mean, that he really wasn't in a protective environment. He was not in the environment that the lady in front of her was telling him, because the game that was playing on the radio was the World Series, where it was the Yankees versus the Dodgers. Who plays for the Brooklyn Dodgers at that time? Jackie Robinson. Now, the reason why the Yankees was so prevalent in there too is because the Yankees, when you look at their logo, it's that top hat and the baseball bat. That top hat belongs to Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's real name is Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is the name of the Falcon in the movie. So, Jackie Robinson, at the time that Captain America first emerged in the 40s, he was actually in the war as well. He didn't go over to fight. He actually got honorably discharged, for baseball and everything and some other things, but he was in the 761st Black Panther Tank Battalion. Now, as I looked at all these synchronicities and noticed how Chadwick Boseman was just playing Jackie Robinson, number 42, and that he played in The Express, and he played in the movie called The Express, the Ernie Davis story, where he played Floyd Little, who was number 44. We're talking Cleveland Browns. We're talking Cleveland Browns. And then this year, he played in Draft Day, where he played Vontae Mack, who was an aspiring football player who wanted to play for the Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland is the main city that all the Marvel movies were made, because they have a studio there. Go ahead, brother.
Man, look, I'm gonna listen. I ain't gonna cut it off. Let it flow, bro.
All right. So, 42. So, then I come to find out, guess what? He's playing James Brown. Oh, yeah. So, Jackie Robinson is definitely Tahuti. I'm seeing the parallels of the Tahuti and the Osarian energy inside him, right? And because for the main reason that him playing James Brown definitely represents Tahuti, because he is the word. He's the godfather of soul. Nobody understands what James Brown was talking about, but everybody knew what he was talking about, because when he opened up his mouth, everybody got down. They got down. You know what I mean? Or they got on up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He was the master communicator, even though you couldn't understand his words. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't
you didn't
deny
understand his words,
you
but
couldn't
you understood
deny
the
whatever
words.
you wasn't understanding. Whatever you couldn't hear is what you was hearing.
You resonated with that thing. Now, he bodied that. So then it comes out that he's going to be in Gods of Egypt, and they cast him as Tahuti. So I'm like, oh, man, yes, this cat is definitely resonating in the God body, because they say in the beginning was the Word. And Tahuti's the creator of the Word, always to the right of Ra. And a lot of people really don't pay attention to him. Now, let's not forget that he came from Atlantis before he came to Kemet. Let's not forget that, when y'all went on that cruise, we talking about the temple of the sun and the moon down in Wet Tahuti Wakan. Nobody pays attention to Tahuti. Nobody pays attention to Quetzalcoatl being the plumed serpent. We talking Tahuti all the way around. So not only that, your boy Black Jackie Robinson was in a fraternity called Omicron Mu Delta. So Mu was the ancient name for America. We all know what a delta is. So, we talking Atlantis. And when you say Omicron Mu Delta, the symbol for Mu is a pyramid. I mean, the delta is a pyramid. So you see all these synchronicities tying together, unraveling a message, unraveling something to the people, letting us know the color barrier is about to be broken. The same way that Jackie Robinson was able to split that light up into all those different color spectrums, guess what? It could be reabsorbed back into the darkness the same way. And we on our way there. Said all those things, and I said, you know what? Based on where we going, because we got Captain America, he got his shield. His shield is made of vibranium. If his shield is made of vibranium, you have to introduce Black Panther, because there's only one place you can get vibranium, and that one place you get vibranium is in Wakanda. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to get now into Interstellar, and then we're going to come back to the Black Panther. Okay? Now, Interstellar.
Yeah, I got a question from the chat.
Okay, go for it.
And I think that this is what you're doing, even though somebody from the chat asked me, why this brother, though? Why him specifically? Why was he the one chosen?
Okay. Well, we have to look at everything that's involved in all of this, okay? We could look at his name, okay? We could look at where he's from. We could look at his numerology, and we could look at the movies that he was in. Now, we said that the real initial movie that he did was Ernie Davis' story, where he played Floyd Little, resonating that 44 energy. The 44 energy, because, Blue would have to definitely get more into depth with this with everybody to bring them up to speed, but the 44 represents the carbon. It represents the blackness, it represents the melanin, it represents the darkness. So in order for the darkness to come back in, because Hollywood is so whitewashed, we got the Exodus, Gods and Kings coming, where they straight whitewash Kemet. But guess what? That's what happened when the 25th dynasty fell. Ptolemy and Serapis ended up, and Alexander, all them cats ended up whitewashing Egypt and turning Egypt into this metropolis of Caucasian hollow worship. So when we see this Exodus, Gods and Kings, that's exactly what we're looking at. Now, he resonating this Ernie Davis 44 energy, and then going into the 42, he ended up capturing that 42. Based on him resonating on those two frequencies, it's not that the directors and the producers consciously made the decision to put him in his place. He is star-bound. He is written in the stars to be he is the color barrier breaker. He is the one to bust the door down so that our story, our people, the forward movement can take place. It happens when somebody kicks in the door. He's the one that kicked in the door wearing 4-4. Right. Now, so he resides in Brooklyn. He was born in the Carolinas, but he resides in Brooklyn. King Simon works out with him at the gym. You hear what I'm saying? Now, he was born, listen to this, he was born November 29th. Barely a 11-11 resonator? That's damn right he 11-11. He's a 4. And when Black Panther comes out, he'll be 40 years old. So November 29th is 4. 40 years old is 4. So when Black Panther debuts, he will be the 44. So it's there's no power. Go ahead.
Let me explain this because
you cut my comment tail off. Right? Go ahead.
Thank. They have a tendency to listen to these programs and tune in and hear what we're saying, and you think that when we're explaining things, you think that we're outside of the story. And I'm telling you, family, it's like we coined the phrase entanglement. This is a story within a story. So we are entangled in the story. The same way that, the brother could send me the clip of Saturday Night Live last week on Saturday with your boy, Jim Carrey. At 44 minutes and 44 seconds, they started a skit called Paul and Phil. Okay? There were two ghosts going into the Paul and Phil thing, right? So, how do you do that? Is that a coincidence? Like, how many coincidences do you need to get hit upside your head for you to open up your eyes and see what we're trying to tell you? Okay?
Not at all.
And I think, again, it's a concept of people being uncomfortable with who they are and not willing to accept the fact that, I'm telling you, we're part of the story. What does that say? You could be part of the story as well. You got to find yourself in the story. So this 44 thing is real, all right? So he played Ernie Davis in the movie Express. The very first sale I made on September 27th, a year to the day that we came back from Mexico, I started My Power Pieces. My very first sale was to an actor named Darren Henson, who also starred in the movie Express. I go to pick the rest of my money up from his crib, right? He has a helmet on his mantelpiece, an orange helmet signed by Jim Brown.
Yeah, it is.
Okay?
Cleveland Browns,
from
baby.
The move, right? From Syracuse. I did the LeBron post, the note on my page when he went back to Cleveland, and I explained to the family how Cleveland is 44'd out. Like, Cleveland Browns is just a homage to 44 because that orange helmet connects to Syracuse, and Syracuse is just, that's just the they have a zip code named after 44. That shit is so 44. Okay,
this is what's
so they have something there called the Legend of 44. Hold on, they got something called the Legend of 44 there. So, okay, Jim Carrey's coming out with a movie, Dumb and Dumber 2, on our birthday, November 14th. 7 years ago, he came out with the other one. You know what I'm saying? And then they came out, 2007 is when 20 years ago, he came out with the first Dumb and Dumber. 7 years ago, he came out with the movie 23, which is resonating the 5 energy, which me and my brother, born on the 14th, we're 5s as well. So, it's entertainment. If you can't grasp that concept, is that if everything is consciousness and we all live in this bubble and we're sharing consciousness, you know what I'm saying? If you can't understand that, then all of these things are going to be outside of you. The movies are speaking to you the same way that you're speaking to these movies. It's a give and a take. All right?
The Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns is a name that they adopted later. That's not their original name. The Cleveland Browns' original title, and y'all can go Google this and research it and look it up right now, they were the Panthers. That was their first name. And they became the Cleveland Browns after that. So if you the Black Panthers, and then you turn to the Browns, you talking melanin, you talking 44. That's all that's gonna resonate there, because that's the mascot. That's the energy That's the frequency that they're resonating.
Melanin, yes. Melanin is a cute carbon size, but it has 8 points. I will show you like 100 articles speaking to this, where petroleum, gas, oil, diamonds, gold, all of these 44 stories dealing with carbon in its natural state, all of them resonating with the number 44. So now this player plays 42. The movie 42, I saw 42. It had 44s in it as well. I think the year and all types of shit. I didn't write all of my notes down, but I'm going to go back and watch it. It got mad 44s in the movie 42. And I loved that movie. It was very inspirational, okay?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And not just that, the woman who played his wife is the niece of my girl Audrey Bahari. That's Brian's wife, son. Who works with Dawood, who does the artwork. That's her niece. That's on the what's in it, Sleepy Hollow show right now. But look,
okay,
I gotta get it in because I got a lot to say. I gotta get it in before the hour hits.
I just want to
let me roll.
Can I just make one last point?
One more, and then I got to depot it.
He plays JB. JB is nothing other than Jakeem and Boaz, the twin pillars, and that's Jay-Z and Beyonce, the 44 resonators. Please go.
There we go. Now, Black Panther. Now, what is a panther? What is a leopard? What is a jaguar? They're all the same. If you look up the classification of jaguar, you're going to see Panthera as its classification name, because a panther is a jaguar is a panther. The only difference is the panther's more melanated. It got more black spots. It got so many black spots that it just blocks all of the gold out, and it's just black all over. So a panther represents a melanated cat being a spiritual being, okay? And then that gets into Bashet. But we're going to take a pause on the panther energy right now. We're going to go into Interstellar, and then we're going to come right back. Now, Interstellar, this is how we go into the other melanin breakdown, because Christopher Nolan, you know, he was known for like Memento, and he did a couple other movies that were dope, but nobody knew really who he was like that until he came and he resurrected Ampu. He resurrected Anubis, which is Heru's brother, in the form of the Dark Knight. Okay, that's what the whole Dark Knight trilogy was. Now, the Dark Knight trilogy, dealing with the whole Ampu, represented the darkness, the dark side, the melanin coming to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? When he ended up getting into the Dark Knight Rises and he was dealing with Bane, he was dealing with the Amet monster, he was dealing with Kepra with the Scarab and the Beetle and all types of stuff like that, you know. We were just talking about Marvel. He was representing DC. So we talking about the same energy, you know, but pretty much two aspects of it. So from the Dark Knight, he said, you know what, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go ahead and take the helm of Steven Spielberg's movie because he can't do it. I'm going to do it. And Interstellar is a movie about a dystopian future of the world. When we say dystopian, we talk instead of utopian. Okay, so utopian meaning nirvana, heavenly state with progression. Dystopian means, you know, destruction, you know, hopelessness, like we're in a state of chaos. Now, in this dystopian future, we have exhausted all of the world's resources. The parasitic elite has pimped us of all the wood, of all, you know, the lumber, the minerals, and everything like that, to the point now where the woman, the Mother Earth, is barren, okay? And not so barren that technology is actually looked at as a negative thing. Like, nobody wants to have nothing to do with technology. There's no MRIs, you know what I'm saying? There's no X-rays. You know, there's nothing like that. It's almost like we regress backwards into another state. The first clip that they showed of this movie is a clip where they show Matthew McConaughey sitting in a classroom. He's sitting in a classroom with the Yakub character from the Planet of the Apes, this Caucasian lady who represents a teacher. He's the principal, and then Matthew McConaughey, where she's talking about the books. The textbooks have been rewritten. And he was like, what did y'all rewrite? She was like, oh, we took that nonsense out about us going to the moon. And he was like, what you mean? He was like, oh, we never really went to the moon. Hollywood created that construct for the government to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
Wow.
I was like, what? This is the first clip. You see what I'm saying? They said, yeah, so the Soviet Union ended up spending all their money on, on satellites and rockets and all that type of stuff. They wasted all their money, and while they were spending all that money, we was able to conserve ours to do this, that, and the third. It's an interesting scene. So we talking about a dystopian future where there's not that much time left for our youth. And if we look around right now, our youth has gone like ape shit, you know what I mean? And I don't blame the youth. A lot of people I talk to, they always knocking the youth and what they do, talk about they crazy, I never did this, that, and the third, I can't understand this, that, and the third. But I can understand it because they have no foundation, there's no investment, they're not being told the truth. So they're reacting based upon their environment and what's being told to them. So we're dealing with a dystopian future dealing with our youth, right? So they're like, look, Matthew McConaughey gets approached, by Michael Caine, and he's like, yo, it's so bad that we need to find another galaxy to go to because this galaxy we living in ain't working no more. We're talking about paradigm shift here. We're saying the paradigm or the world that we're living in currently, this construct of this society and this structure is not going to survive. It's not going to work for anybody whose light is on inside their mind's eye, whose spirit is bubbling full of gold, whose heart is pumping blood that is pure, and full of life. It's not going to work anymore. We have to find another world to inhabit. So he hires him to find, he says, look, we done mastered the wormhole. We know where the black hole is located within our solar system that can take you to another galaxy, and from there you can see if there's habitable planets. So this black hole that's in this movie, as I spoke before briefly last week, is the first of its kind on the silver screen because it's not just a regular like funnel, that we usually see where, it's just whipping around and everything gets sucked in. No, this black hole was created by getting consulting from the head of the Caltech physics department, a best friend of Stephen Hawking, lead researcher of Albert Einstein, Kip Thorne. This guy created a mathematical formula to be translated into computer binary code so that VFX engineers can construct from scratch a rendering program to translate the theoretical idea of Kip Thorne, Steve Hawking, and Albert Einstein's Rosenberg Bridge black hole into reality on the silver screen where you and I can actually visually see it. You hear what I'm saying? Now, that has nothing to do...
I can't wait to go Interstellar.
That has nothing to do with eating some popcorn and saying, oh, man, that sure was dope when Homeboy blew up. Like, nah, partner, that's a whole nother level, man. They talked about, Christopher Nolan was saying, look, we were real kind of skeptical about the black hole that came about because we did not know if the people watching hold on, man. Oh, man. Listen, I'm getting excited over here. This dude said, we don't know if the people watching the screen, if their perception will be able to properly perceive what the fuck is happening. In other words, the director says this thing is so deep and so on point that we don't even know if when you watch it, you're going to even recognize what you're looking at. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the camera fixated at one position so that as long as the camera angle doesn't move, you'll be able to focus on and kind of be able to follow the alchemical process that is taking place in front of your face on the screen. So this black hole ain't really like on the suck in tip like drain, water going down a drain. It's actually lensing. So it's gonna almost look like you're going through a bubble or going through another realm, to another dimension, like on some Metroid. When you walk up to the door and you bust the bubble and walk through, it's gonna be on that tip. It's crazy. So I say that to say, all this energy, all this work, all this precision is being placed inside of a film just so you could be like, oh, he could get an Academy Award, he could make a couple $100 million. That's dope. Don't get me wrong, but man, that ain't the reason. And also, like I said, even with all the work he's doing, he is a tool. He is a tool for a higher energy that is coercing him into being so passionate and dedicated into getting this thing done a particular way, so those who have their particular eyes open, they could be able to really see what's going on. Because I said it before, this is going to be the first movie, similar to the Avatar, and of course similar to the Matrix. This is just the next level on that wormhole journey where people's consciousness are actually going to go through a wormhole and come out on the other side when the movie is done. They're going to be in another realm. Their world is going to change. They're going to go out in their day, and things are going to be a little different. They're going to be thinking a little different. They're going to be seeing things a little different. They ain't going to be in the world they were before. So if you go see this movie, recognize your world's going to change when you watch it. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this movie is that they're introducing Oculus Rift technology. Now, a movie came out earlier this year called Oculus. It was a horror film about these people getting caught up in these mirrors. They were scrying in the mirrors, and entities were coming in and out the mirrors and pulling them in and out. Just like a movie screen is a mirror, it's a silver screen. So, Oculus Rift came out 2012, right when the shift took place, right? That's when they debuted. Oculus Rift represents the technology of virtual reality where when you place this it's kind of a bulky, like eyeglass, like helmet type thing you put over your head. It looks like the surrogate technology. Anybody who saw the surrogates with Bruce Willis and Boris Cujo and Ving Rhames came out a few years back. If you didn't, go Google it, surrogates. You put this little thing on your head, and no matter where you look, 360 degrees, up, down, left, right, turn at any angle, diagonal, perpendicular, whatever, you were inside the realm of the movie you're watching. You're actually in the movie. So you see stars around you, or you might be inside the spaceship, the metal floors underneath your feet. You don't step on the glass. You might cut your foot. Oh, there's steps. People stepping up in midair and shit while they got it on their head. And y'all can Google that too. It's on the Hollywood Decoded Facebook page, the videos, and you can see all the interviews of the people that experienced it and the look on their face and what they saying. They like, yo. Now, they got this in New York right now up until, I think, like November 19th or something like that. I think it's in Dallas, L.A., and I forget what the other city is, but this is something that they do, and this is what they're introducing with this film. Like I said, this is the crossover. This is singularity. A black hole creates singularity. It pulls, there's no light that can escape the black hole, okay? This is the ultimate 44 resonator. There's nothing that can compete with a black hole in the universe. It sucks up anything and everything that I don't care how big and bad it may be. It's not escaping the black hole. But see, we get it confused and think it's the black hole with an H. It's a black hole with the W. See, the unification of the black presence is inescapable. I don't care what and who you are, you cannot escape the black hole. And that's what they talking about in this movie. It's about the black hole, the black unity, the ultimate 44 resonance of the fact that no light can escape it. Now, once the light goes through, it gets compressed and densed so much that it hits singularity. And I've been talking about singularity a lot, especially in the Captain America Decoded, because they had the twin energy in there between your boy Arnim Zola being resurrected with inside the computer at the same time that your boy came out with Transcendence, Johnny Depp, and showing that particular thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, the man in the machine, the singularity, the computer being able to catch up to the processes of the human brain, but they ruled that out because they were under the impression that they would be able to add up all the neurons in the brain and come up with a number and compare that to binary code units, you know? But what happened was they come to find out because of the microtubules that are inside each and every neuron. Each microtubule consists of tubulin. Each tubulin of the microtubule represents a 0 and a 1. So when they redid the mathematical equation, they found out that each neuron in your brain is a brain on itself. And by you having 100 billion neurons in your brain, that means that there ain't no computer coming nowhere near the processing bit information that your brain can do, especially if you're only using about 10% of that thing. As Lucy told you, we ain't talking about Lucy being no monkey. We talking about lucidity. We talking about Lucifer. We talking about translucence. We talking about lucid dreaming. We talking about clarity of light in coherent form. We talking laser.
Talking that liquid gold, right?
That's right. So, that's what this Interstellar movie's gonna be about. And you know, as I posted on my Facebook page, I'm coming up there. I'm gonna be there in a week. I'm gonna be up there for a week, and one of my presentations is gonna be Interstellar Decoded, where I go over this information with everybody. I'm gonna have images and animations, and we're gonna go into the galaxy, because anytime you see a movie and Earth is dystopian and they go to the stars for the answer, what they're talking about is your body. Your body is the Earth. Your body is the Earth, and through the mercury, sulfur, and salt alchemical process, you are supposed to dig deep inside. They call it the vitriol. You dig deep inside the cave to find the gold. But when you dig deep inside the earth, you have to ascend into the mind, and the mind is the stars. So those dimension jumpings and that black hole that you fall through is that substantia nigra and that locus ceruleus that's encapsulated within inside the center of the brain. We found that in Prometheus. That's where you have to go through in order to do that lensing, to flip over into another world. Use your pineal gland, you know, to flip that circadian rhythm. So that's my little primer on Interstellar. So let's go back to the Panther.
Hold on, let me print it real quick. Of course, like you said, we know Matthew McConaughey is 44 years old.
He's 44. So is Christopher Nolan, the director.
44. So, you know, we're going to be in the building for that. You know, we're going to do a live tour, family. I think we're going to do it on 11/11. We're going to take the family out to actually go and see the movie so we could do an on-spot Hollywood Decoded. You know what I'm saying? Right in the building. You know what I mean? So we're going to have the information posted about that as well. And,
yeah, we're gonna be crude. We're gonna be crude deep. Some tells me it's gonna be 44 people.
You already know.
It's gonna be 44 people. So yeah, and Matthew McConaughey is a Scorpio. He's November 2nd. Anne Hathaway is November 12th. She's a Scorpio. The daughter that the girl who's playing Matthew McConaughey's daughter in the movie is November 10th. She's a Scorpio. So they got all this Scorpio energy being utilized because they're going in the depths. The only way you can go down where Ola Kun resides, at the bottom of that ocean, the only way you can get down there is through that Scorpio energy, because that Scorpio the scorpion is able to dig deep inside the earth. The snake is able to come back up to the surface. The eagle is able to fly up, and the phoenix is able to be reborn. So, yes, 11/11/2014, New York, we're doing the Interstellar Decoded. It's going to be unlike any other Decoded that's been done. Now, this is coupled along with Black Panther because, like I said, Matthew McConaughey's at the helm. He won the Patah last year at the Academy Awards, okay? Now, we're going to look at this Patah thing, because Patah is at the center of the Shabaka Stone. The Shabaka Stone is a artifact from the Meroitic Kingdom in Kush. We're talking 25th dynasty, where it talks about Patah being the center of creation. We're talking about the mound and everything like that. Matthew McConaughey was born November 2nd. They're releasing the Black Panther on November 3rd. The other movie that's being released November 2nd, the year before Black Panther, is Doctor Strange. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. So they're letting us know that the sorcery is going to take place, in order for this. So what's so important about the Patah and the November 3rd energy and the Scorpio and the Black Panther and the magic? What is that? Well, we're going to talk about Epidemic, okay? Epidemic is primarily a war god. We could be sure that in the past he was invoked to bestow his blessing upon the outcome of battles. Warriors would have desired the god's strength and ferocity in combat. In one hymn, he was described as one who sends forth a flaming breath against his enemies in his name, great of power, who slays the rebels with his strength. He was offered as wearing battle dress of leather armor, carrying weapons, especially a bow and arrow. He was also shown slaying enemies or else holding on to bound captives who were restrained with cords around their neck, like your boy did in the Equalizer. So Epidemic is a cat-headed deity. He is synonymous with Mahash, which is another cat-headed deity. Mahash was also known as the slayer, the one of the massacre. He carried a knife. He carried claws with him. He was a cat-headed deity. They're interchangeable. They are the son of Bastet, okay? Bastet is the black cat, okay? Now, anybody who knows anything about alchemy or magic, anytime you see a witch, wizard, or anybody casting any type of spell, there's a black cat right there. Why is the black cat there? Because the black cat represents the Panther energy, represents the Epidemic energy, represents the Bastet energy. Bastet is a female goddess. This is who the black cat gets all his energy from. All right? So let's talk about the Black Panther. Now, Black Panther resides in a town, in a city whose borders have never been breached. They reside, if you look at the map of where Wakanda is, it is right where the Meroitic Kingdom is. And when I say Meroitic Kingdom, I'm talking about Upper Egypt. You got Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. Lower Egypt was north, Upper Egypt was south. There was always a battle between the north and the south to create a unity because the Lower Egypt was on their lower chakras, the upper was on their higher. And the Nile flows from the south to the north, which means if it flows from the south to the north, then that means the essence and the true nature of a nation would originate at the source of the delta and go upward. But the Lower Egypt was constantly getting caught up, as we are in our society, with the distractions, getting caught up with society and the materialistic, and was turning the deities that they were supposed to be resonating with into hollow worshiping devices. Okay? So there was constantly a reminder where Upper Egypt would come into town and be like, listen, nigga, get right. And when they didn't want to get right, they would buck and they would battle, and it was a constant war. That's why when you look at Lower Egypt, when you look at the walls, you always see the Nubians subdued. You see the dark-skinned, indigenous, black individuals, they got their hands bound and things like that because that what was going on at the time, but they was always rolling on each other. Well, the Meroitic Kingdom represents that Upper Egypt dynasty. Now, Wakanda is led by a patriarchal leadership. However, it is the veneration within that town is to the woman through Bastet. They have these huge giant, we talking about maybe 80 feet to 100 feet tall, the as tall as skyscrapers actually, of black cats that stand in the city. And whoever is the king at the time, because they're a master of ethnobotanicals. Ethnobotanicals is when you are able to take plants and use them as medicine, combine it with the body, combine it with your community and with your nationhood in order to create circumstance through the plant. They're master of ethnobotanics, and they use the ethnobotanics to heal, to create strength, and also to cross over to the spiritual realm. When they go into the spiritual realm, they talk to Bastet, and Bastet instructs them on what needs to be done. If there's a battle, Bastet becomes one with them in the form of Sekhmet, so that they can roll on these cats in the form of epidemic or in the form of Mahas. Now, the original Black Panther's name was T'Chaka. That sounds very close to Chewbacca because Chewbacca was, you had Chewbacca and Pianki, which were brothers, and those were the two that pretty much were winning the wars, against the North and reinstituting the original way of connecting with nature, bringing home the indigenous. You know what I'm saying? So you got the Chewbacca stone that was kind of like they call it that because it's similar to the Rosetta Stone that they found, where they got the different dialects on this, and they was finally able to figure out, what the Metanetta was talking about. But with Meroitic script, it's the only script that hasn't been deciphered yet. They still can't decipher the Meroitic script. The Chewbacca stone, though, has a cosmology, a story upon it that talks about and gives the instructions on how one is a physical being that is a gross form of light, and how to increase your vibration to become a light being. That's what the Chewbacca stone is all about. Now, we're talking about vibrations. Now, in the story of the Black Panther, a meteorite or a stone comes down from the heavens and hits that city. This meteorite contains a metal called vibranium. Vibranium is a metal that is able to absorb all vibration. So if you had a suit or a shield made out of it, like Captain America got a shield made out of it, it's bulletproof, it's punch, laser proof. The harder you bang it, the more, the stronger the metal ends up becoming, because it absorbs it absorbs the shock. That's also the element that Iron Man created in Iron Man 2 in order to give his suit more power when he had the little goggles on and he was like trying to create a new element. That's the element that he created. He created vibranium when he was up in his spot. That's what he was doing. So all these, end up leading to obviously the whole Black Panther thing. Now, the title of Black Panther is a title similar to a free national name. It's like or Bay. That's what Black Panther represents. It represents a sovereignty. You know what I'm saying? So it gets passed down patriarchally from father to son. So T'Challa ended up getting murdered by a cat named Ulysses Claw, who was a mercenary connected to the Bavarian Empire and the whole Bilderberg group when the Illuminati was getting down back in the day, in the early 1900s. That's who Ulysses Claw represented. They're mercenary. and he ended up murdering T'Challa. So T'Chaka, who's his son, ended up inheriting the title of the Black Panther, and it became his focus in life to avenge his father, this Ulysses Klaue. Now, the vibranium is in a mound. It's a giant mound that sits in their city that they're able to mine from. So that's how we get back to the Bata, and the Ta energy dealing with the land, the mound builders, because everything and anything that has to do with our ancestry, they have inside this story of the Black Panther, okay? He lives in this city, Wakanda, where Wakanda is the technology, the government structure, and the commerce and connection of the people is nearly half a millennium ahead of anybody else on the planet. Now, that's not my opinion. That's actually what's stated in the Marvel Universe, that Wakanda is the most profound nation that exists on planet Earth, headed by this black man. Now, the funny thing about Wakanda is it's not a term that was created by Jack Kirby, because Jack Kirby, the same guy who created the Celestials, the same guy who created, the whole the creatures that they used in Prometheus, because Prometheus, they took a lot of stuff from Jack Kirby with that. He created Black Panther in 1966. Black Panther is actually the first black, the first African superhero that debuted in mainstream comics. And they didn't water him down. They kept him strong. It was before the Black Panther Party actually came forth, So it was definitely
Black Panther character, the Marvel Universe Black Panther character was before the Black Panther movement?
Yeah. Black Panther movement came out like November 1966. It was towards the end of 66. The first appearance of the Black Panther was, listen to this, it was in Fantastic Four, dog. His first appearance was in Fantastic Four, number 52. Number 52, 1966. It was like at the top of the year. Now, for them to debut the Black Panther at that time, that means he was creating him a year before that. So Black Panther got created like in 64, 65. That's when he was created. So yeah, it came before the Black Panther.
Real quick, family, you need to call in. I ain't got to tell you that you need to continue this conversation with us. The live stream is gonna be finished in 5 minutes. So 347-637-2135, 347-637-2135. It looks like a highway stick up in the studio. It's a lot of hands up, but I'm gonna let you do your thing. Please continue.
Oh yeah. I know it. Now this presentation here, All Roads Lead to Wakanda, is definitely part of the tour. This tour is gonna go on for the next 3 years up until this Black Panther movie comes out. Now, I know that sounds a little extreme, but in my mind, this is the first time, there's a character coming out that is going to embody something that we all can be proud of. And I know there's going to be people like, oh, man, why are you waiting, for the Caucasian to do something to try and, want to do something? Or, I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of things to say, and that's fine because opinions are necessary. But I'm talking about me, and I'm recognizing what this movie is really going to stand for in terms of the youth. I'm just thinking about all the children. I'm thinking about my sons. I'm thinking about Amir. When they go see him, and then they're going to want the action figure, and then they want to dress up like him, and then they're going to actually have someone to identify with. Which, I'm not saying that there's nobody for them to identify now. We got ancestors out the wazoo. We got Malcolm X. We got Marcus Garvey. We got Noble Drew Ali. We got Taharka. We got real people, that we can look up to and embody, who we are as a people. But when we talk about how powerful of an influence the media has and how powerful of an influence Hollywood has, with them putting forth, or not even them, by us finally our energy penetrating this resistant structure they got in place, in Hollywood, to create this circumstance where this movie is now manifesting is a powerful thing, and I'm going to back it up. So to get back to Wakanda, a lot of people, for those who follow the Black Panther, they only know Wakanda as being a city. However, let me let you know that Wakanda was not something that was created by Jack Kirby. The Great Spirit, called Wakantanka or Wakanda, among the Sioux and Geechee Manitou in Algonquin, is a conception of a supreme being prevalent among some Native American and First Nation cultures. According to Lakota activist Russell Means, a better translation of Wakantanka is the Great Mystery. The Great Spirit or Great Mystery is generally believed to be personal, close to the people, and immanent in the fabric of the material world. Lakota prayers refer to him as grandfather. However, not all nations assign gender or only one gender to the Great Mystery. Chief Dan Ihima, a spiritual leader of the Hopi Nation, described the Great Spirit as follows. To the Hopi, the Great Spirit is all-powerful. He taught us how to live, to worship, where to go, and what food to carry, gave us seeds to plant and harvest. He gave us a set of sacred stone tablets into which he breathed all teachings in order to safeguard his land and life. In these stone tablets were inscribed instructions, prophecies, and warnings. Old Man is how the Great Spirit is known by the Blackfoot people. Old Man personally created all things and personally instructed the Blackfoot people on how to attain spiritual wisdom in daily life. Thinking about the fact that Wakanda is actually the deity that was the Amun Ra Ptah over here on this land to the indigenous people. His name was Wakanda. And it's not the Wakanda or a Wakanda, it just was Wakanda, known as the Great Spirit. Now,
so when I visited,
go ahead.
When I visited Mount Shasta, and they said Mount Shasta is the grandfather, then it has to tie into that as well.
No, that's what I just said. The grandfather, exactly. Drop it.
That's crazy.
Drop it. Yes.
Because this was around the same time that I was learning about the Pantera, you know what I'm saying? And I was actually standing on the grid in Shasta visualizing the Pantera down in South America, because they said if you stand on the grandfather grid, you could program any place on the planet because it's the root chakra of the planetary grid system. That's why they call it grandfather.
Yep. And the reason why they chose Wakanda as the name of the city. Now think about it. It's a nation. It's not a city. It's a nation where communities live in harmony. There's only people of color living in this city. It's only black folks living in this city. Okay, ain't nobody shooting nobody. Ain't nobody cracking nobody's head. They ain't snorting no lines. Like, everybody is in a forward movement in this city. Everybody stay in their lane. If people want to farm, they farm. If they want to paint, they paint. This is how this city is situated. This is how they painted the picture. The only thing they did was create a real reflection of what we were doing when they rolled up on us, right? So why did they call the town Wakanda? They called the town Wakanda because they're saying in order for us to live an existence like that, we have to live within the Great Spirit. We have to stay inside the Great Mystery. Our borders need to be the Great Spirit. That's how we all will be able to work together and live in harmony. When we call it, not when we see the Great Spirit as something, but when we see everything as the Great Spirit. Whether it's a rock or a tree or a leaf or a bird, we treat our neighbor as if it's the Great Spirit. You see what I'm saying? So I found that quite profound, that they would have the Black Panther, who definitely represents the black man and the black woman as the sovereign ruler of the state of the Great Mystery. Placing it in Africa, however, it originating here in the Americas, showing the Goranaland reference of the connection between the two land masses by way of what animal, Blue? What animal connects the two lands?
You said what now? What?
I said, what is the animal that connects the two lands? The panther.
The panther.
You look at the 25th dynasty, you're going to see them wearing the jaguar. You come over here and look at the Olmecs, you're going to see them wearing the jaguar. You look at Taharka, if you see the headdress that they wore, the skull cap, it's the same skull cap that you see the Olmecs rocking. You know what I'm saying? Even when you come here in the South, this is due to the hunters, but if I go back 100 years, the cougar puma population was insane. They was all up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And just to hit y'all even harder, if we go back 100 years to the Blue Ridge Mountains, it was just inhabited by thousands and thousands of panthers and pumas and cougars, which is the panther, right? Guess who was born in the Blue Ridge Mountains in South Carolina?
Who?
Chadwick Boseman. Can I get a bomb? Can I get one? Is that all right with you?
Nah, he wasn't born in that. Look, I spent some time in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah Valley. That easily is one of the most beautiful places on this continent that I have been to. You know what I'm saying? I've been a lot of places nature is just beautiful, but just the rolling hills and the mountains, the forest area, that's a beautiful place of real estate on the planet that the family should visit. And it's very expansive as well. It goes all the way into Georgia and things of that nature. So, yeah, man, Blue Ridge is beautiful. And that's where my dude, Amar Bradshaw is from that area, number 44 on the Giants that won the touchdown. You know what I mean? Won the Super Bowl with that touchdown. He's from that area as well.
Right.
From Twin. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, let me go into this vibranium a little bit more, so people can understand how important this vibranium is. We got to recognize that we're getting back into Houthi again, because when you talk about the 7 principles of the Kabbalion, you got the correspondence and the mentalism and the gender and the cause and effect, and you also have the whole vibration thing, and the main metal that was given to this nation of people, was vibranium. And always deals with the ohm, or the tone or the frequency. Vibranium deals with sound, because, as I said before, see, that's the key that we have to unlock as a people is the sound. That's why music is our lockdown right now, because when we understand the frequency of sound, the ultrasonic, like terahertz and gigahertz, see, that's how we'll levitate. That's how we'll be able to cut through rock. We won't need John Deere. We won't need to spend hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars renting John Deere equipment. We'll be able to create inventions that utilizes ultrasonic frequencies that can pick up 50-ton objects, like you picking up a cardboard box and lining it up. And this is all based upon sound and ultrasonic frequency. So vibranium was first deposited on Earth by a meteorite 10,000 years ago. The first documented discovery of vibranium was during a human expedition to Antarctica. This particular isotope of vibranium was dubbed antimetal due to its property of dissolving other metals. A different variety of vibranium found in Wakanda absorbs sound waves and other vibrations, including kinetic energy. It was discovered by the Wakandan king T'Chaka, father of the Black Panther T'Challa. To protect this resource, he concealed his country from the outside world. T'Chaka funded his country's education by occasionally selling off minute qualities of the metal. As a result, Wakanda is one of the world's most technologically advanced nations. During the early 1940s, now listen, 1940s now, a small amount of Wakandan vibranium came into the possession of the scientist Myron McLean. He tried to combine vibranium with iron to form a new tank armor, but was unable to fuse the elements. One morning, he found that the two materials had bonded on their own in an unknown manner. The ultra-resilient alloy was used to create Captain America's shield. McLean worked for decades to duplicate the accident. During a trial in the 1960s, he developed the virtually indestructible metal adamantium. So Wolverine, Ultron, all these cats with all this metal in the Marvel Universe all owe their strength, their power, their force to the black man, because he's the one who ended up having this metal that created, you know, this world and all these other dimensions of it. So, like I said, the Panther cult, you know, which we're all part of, you know what I'm saying? What I really wanted to do, and I wasn't able to do it, was get that Panther Power track to you, you know what I'm saying, that Tupac did. I wanted that to play at the top of the hour, but I wasn't able to get it. But that whole Panther movement that we're about, it's even deeper than just the Pan-Africanism. And when I say just the Pan-Africanism, I'm not downplaying Pan-Africanism. I'm just saying that it's deeper than that. You know, it goes back to even Mars, you know, because, you know, Mars was inhabited. We was up in there. We didn't have to take no ship down here because there are areas on this planet and other planets, like where these temples are, when the tones are right, the frequency's right, and the light is aligned, we are able to transport ourselves from different locations. And when you look at the face that's on Mars, it's a lion's face. It's a cat face. When we look at Avatar, when they went through the wormhole, when they came into the black man's body, what body did we take on? We were the Panther. They were all Panther people in the Avatar. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that this Panther cult, this Panther energy, this cat energy is a lot deeper than we think. You know what I'm saying? The lion represents the sun. The Sphinx has the lion body, you know what I'm saying? Or is it a lion body? It could be a panther body. You know, we don't know because it has the head of a man on it. You know what I'm saying? The Leo constellation represents strength. It represents the heart.
It's even worth noting now, and this gets into some information that the brother Horace Butler's dealing with when Rocks Cry Out, as well as the book that I was reading, Circular Thought, which compares, quote-unquote, African stories with native stories, and the priests of the Panther or the Pantera, okay, right? You find commonalities and similarities there where, quote-unquote, Jesus was known as Yahshua ben Pantera, okay? They said that he was a priest of the Panther clan, you know, of that particular secret society. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
There's on this side ancient motif in regards to our higher selves, in regards to our priesthood, warrior class, and how those two combine. You know, so the Panther thing is deep, and like the brother said, it transcends quote unquote black nationalism because it was here prior to that. But if we will only embrace our existence on this side as well and dig a little bit deeper, like Horace Butler commissioned us to do, when he dropped the information, I asked him, now what am I supposed to do with this? He said, go and find your story. He said, follow this and find out where you fit. The next year we was on our way to Mexico, to the pyramids, okay? And I know that we opened the portal, and we're returning to those pyramids as well. Now that we have this information, like I said earlier in the show will also serve as an eye-opener to reinforce the need and necessity to go a little bit further. There's hidden treasures. Right. There's something in for you, but you got to be willing to go a little bit further.
Now, the connection between Interstellar and Black Panther is this. Like I said, Matthew McConaughey's November 2nd, and Black Panther comes out November 3rd, but 3 years later. Interstellar is all about creating that clarity, flipping that realm, that dimension. So, because, you don't see with your eyes just let light in, your brain converts, that light into an image that you can recognize. The most, right now, the highest frequency that we're utilizing in our perception when we're watching anything is 1080 HP, right? HD. Now, when we're doing 1080 is 3 cycles of 360 or 3 years. So by them making the announcement now, what they're saying is they're creating a clarity. They're creating that 1080. That 1080 is being created, because that definitely is a far off reach for the announcements, you know what I'm saying, that they're making right now. So I'm gonna end on this note here, before we let these calls in and stuff. I know the hands is up, but we're on our road on the way to the Infinity War. You know what I'm saying? And in the Infinity War, we're dealing with Thanos, and Thanos having the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet is a glove, a golden glove, that has on it 6 gemstones. Every Marvel movie that we've watched so far has been about a particular gemstone, whether you're looking at Thor the Dark World with the ether, you're talking about Avengers with the cube, you're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy with the orb. Each one of these had a different gemstone. These gemstones represent soul, time, space, mind, reality, power. Now, if that's not a reminder of 6 things that you need to have at the front of your consciousness every moment you wake up to the time you go to bed. I'm going to say this again. We're talking about soul, or the sulfur, the soul within inside your body, making sure that you are staying true to that flame that was given to you, right? Time, not getting caught up in somebody else's establishment of time, but the subjective time that you experience. The time of nature, the time that you're able to slow down or speed up based upon your perception. We're talking about space, utilizing the space that's around you to the best of your abilities, not getting caught up, not feeling like you're getting closed in, but recognizing that you're on a planet hurtling 660,000 miles per hour. Every moment that passes by, we is rolling through this thing. Your mind has to be clear. You have to know exactly what you want to do. You cannot allow everybody to place distractions on your mind, because if they do, then what they're going to do is utilize your soul, your time, your space, so that your mind can then bring into reality power for them. And that's who Thanos represents. So what you going to do about those 6 gemstones? Are you going to 6 gemstones that represents different aspects of your being and utilize them for yourself? Or are you going to let Thanos put them shits on that glove and fuck you up? Pardon my French, but I'm just saying. So with that being said, brothers and sisters out there, I hope that you were able to walk away, with some information. Tonight is just pretty much a primer on what's going to be coming, when I head up there to New York and I lay down this information. I really do hope that the people come out and support me because I got a lot to give. Tonight was just, this is just on the radio, me and my brother doing our thing. But the visual presentation is just so far beyond, because then you're able to see what I'm talking about. I'm able to show you how all this stuff connects and how it's relevant. And when you walk away, man, you're gonna be charged. Like Blue said when he was done with Equalizer, you might walk 20 miles when you leave from the presentation, because you're gonna need that time. You're gonna be so inspired to put everything together that you're just gonna go on that walk. And I'd just like to say thank you.
No doubt. Brother Rad, you have anything to add on before we go to these callers?
Just want to say powerful. I can't wait for the visual presentation. And, once again, KT does what he does, man. You know what I'm saying? He dissects. And I really looking forward to hear what these people got to say, though, the family, the callers. So let's get right to them.
Yes, indeed, family. We're going to go to the line. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please press 1 at this time, and we will bring you into the build, all right, in due form. So, of course, let me keep this thing all the way tall in the Scorpio realm. This is Scorp season. Let me go to caller from the 410-595. Peace.
Peace, Lord. I want to say before it even happens, I ain't going to be able to spit nothing because my phone is about to die. It's beeping like crazy right now. So peace to everybody. KT killed it. I wanted to get in there, but, some Lord, the phone about to hang up at any moment. So, I just want to say peace.
Man, I appreciate you even being present, brother. I appreciate you being here,
Lord.
Man.
Yeah, Lord, you killed me with the how you broke down the Marvel comic view on it, man. I was looking for the movie yesterday.
Right.
Yeah, and you came to mind, and then today they just, leave it on my page. I know right where to find you at. So,
there it is.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Lord. I don't even want to get into anything because my phone is sitting up there chirping like a parakeet, Billy.
Hey, on the Hollywood Decoded, man, message me your number again because I got a couple clients for you, bro.
I got you. I'm going to get in touch with you tonight, hopefully.
Yes, do that.
Yeah, I lost your number, man, when I lost my other phone. So, I'm going to get that red or blue tonight and get it.
Yeah. Do that. Please do that.
Yeah. All
right. Yo, happy belated, my brother. Salute to you.
Oh, yeah. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah,
bringing it
Lord.
in.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm 49 years running young now.
There we go.
That's right.
That's 4 everywhere we go.
I feel like Benjamin Button, so, all right?
All right.
Hey.
Getting younger by the day.
There it is.
Absolutely. All right, Lord.
Peace, Lord. Get to the next caller, man, because I know I'm going.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yes, indeed, family. All right. Now is the time. Again, press 1 if you want any questions, comments, or concerns to be heard. We will open up your line. Let me go to caller from the 864-384. Caller. Peace. Caller from the 864 area code.
They jumping rope.
Peace. Hello? Caller from the 864-384. Caller, peace.
Hello?
Greetings. Peace, bro.
Peace. Oh, so I didn't mean to press 1, but but I guess while I'm on here, I guess I can ask. It's interesting about the Black Panther because it's my favorite character. What I guess the simple thing I guess is what do you see the movie representing once it come out?
What do I think it's going to represent?
Yeah.
Yes, I personally feel it's going to be a direct reflection of our inner struggle as a people when it comes out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one person, but he represents a nation, and whatever he's going through, we're going to have to pay attention because it's definitely going to hit close to home with whatever he's going through, and how he overcomes it is going to be a code. Like I said, we can't get caught up in the director, producer, the distributors, and all that type of stuff. We got to understand that, it's a message coming from a higher power, and by it coming through the Black Panther, like it's so like straight to the point. We just need to pay attention to the storyline. But it's definitely going to have something to do with him avenging his father, because Ulysses Claw killed him, and just like our forefathers have been murdered, lynched, and thrown under the bus, we have to avenge our forefathers and recognize our ancestors again. That's the only way we're going to be able to establish that connection.
All right. Appreciate it. And yeah, y'all called it months ago on that Captain Winter Soldier segment.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate that.
Appreciate y'all. Be good.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Yes, indeed.
Sister Alicia, are you still on the phone? I got your line open here.
I am. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yes, I can.
I'm here, beloved.
I went and told you that the brother was going to build a bridge, you know what I'm saying, all the way to Mexico and make this trip relevant to this show. So now we're going down there with all this renewed energy. We calling on the ancestors of the Wakanda when we get down there.
Yes.
We're going to put our Omega helmets on, you know what I'm saying, and actually, it's the whole lecture has been intensifying just with this new level of information that we received. So,
I'll tell you right now how much more relevant it becomes, because I didn't even get into the etymology of Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick, Wick. This thing is crazy. Chad means large body of water.
Okay.
Because the country of Chad in Africa is actually named after Lake Chad, and the word Chad came from the indigenous people, and it means large embodiment of water.
Okay.
Yeah, Bosman is actually a title, and it's connected like to the Hindi, where all the scribes and the dignitaries, the higher adepts within their society, have the last name Bosman.
Okay.
And then Bos itself, BOSE, deals with it's like a verb, it's an action in which somebody is applying large amounts of pressure to the ground because there's to find catacombs that lie underneath the ground. So symbolically, it represents using vibration to find out what lies beneath.
Wow.
I love that. Wow.
So that's his name. So if that don't represent your cruise, you know what I'm saying, you let me know.
And and the unearthing of they buried those heads underground and I see the clear connections. Like I said, I understand how everything just started materializing, and the theme has been very heavy in my life since then. I've learned so much more about the Chi people, who they call the Olmec. So even when we go back, the education, the level of information that we're going to be able to disseminate is just going to be on another level. So one more time, I do want you to share your information with the family just in case anybody tuned in late.
Absolutely. If you were not on the call earlier, you have indeed missed the treat. I encourage you to definitely do the playback. We are sharing about the 1,000 Women and Warriors in White cruise. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It is a 7-day cruise on board the Royal Caribbean Freedom of the Seas. Red Pill and Blue Pill will be speaking. This will also be their 40th birthday party, so it is going to be off the charts. Queen Afua will be on the cruise. She is going to be doing our ancestor ritual in Haiti, so that is going to be absolutely amazing. Many of the women that are going through the 52-week Sacred Woman Journey, I am one of the instructors, and they will be graduating while we're in Haiti as well. So it's beautiful that we're doing an ancestor ritual on Haiti because we are giving homage not only to those ancestors that passed recently, but to those in 1802 who shut it down, whose shoulders we continue to stand on. Every time you decide to become a revolutionary, you are standing on their shoulders. So whether you're a revolutionary by deciding that you're not going to continue to put poisonous toxins in your body, right now at my at Hatshepsut, which is my center, we are doing the Raseki retreat this weekend. So I have 14 women here who are dedicated to detoxifying their bodies and learning how to become non-toxic healers. And they are here under the instructions of Mukajar Nia Yah. It is going to be absolutely bananas. So we're going to Jamaica, we're going to Haiti, we're going to Mexico, and we're going to Grand Cayman. We're doing rituals while we're there. We are aligning ourselves so that we become excellent. Dr. Gabriel Hernandez L., who has been on the show several times, will be speaking on the Moorish origins of the Spanish language. As that brother broke that thing down to me, I was sitting there like, stop playing. And then he took me back to some of Bobby's old stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, he's been saying it for years. I just wasn't in a position to hear it. Because you can hear lectures at the wrong time and not be able to receive it, and sometimes even speak foolishly against information. One of my early teachers always told me, if you don't understand something and you don't have enough information to refute it, take it and put it on a shelf, because there will be a time when you come into the maturity where you are able to either concretely refute it or you're able to fully receive it or to tweak it so that you've got the best information. So I am so extremely grateful. So, yeah, I have grown tremendously. I am so grateful even for this show because you all open us up and continue to make us shift our paradigm. You can have a paradigm shift as a people, but then individually you are responsible for your own paradigm shift. And so when you don't place yourself in a position to shift, then what you do is you end up retarding yourself. So if oh, man, you're retarded. Yeah, actually, you are. So it ends up retarding everything in your life when you don't come into alignment. So thank you all for continuing to have the show. Thank you all for continuing to be steadfast, for us to know that every Tuesday night, every Friday night, you're going to be there so that we can continue to grow, because you continue to challenge much of the teaching that we have just accepted. Because when you hear wrong information repeated many, many times, oftentimes we accept it to be true. And so that makes us truly unlearned, because all you become is a regurgitator of the same wrong information over and over and over again. Study to show thyself approved. Yeah. So all of that is about the truth. 404-401-7448 is the contact information right now. If you are a listener on Know the Ledge Radio, it's only $25 down. Your deposit is only $25 for the cruise. The women that are going through the 52-week Sacred Woman in the Making program, they will actually be having their all-white graduation. We're going to have an all-white beach party. So you'll be able to be in your bikinis. Come on out. This is the time to tighten your body. when we do our rituals, we're going to have our whites on. We have one night. It's going to be the captain's formal night where we will all be in white. They got tuxes on the suit on the ship. So if brothers want to come through deck down in a white tux, shut it down, baby, shut it down, because they need to see black royalty and see us in our excellence. They are not used to seeing it. So when they finally see brothers that are not walking around sagging, but brothers that are together and sisters that are together, they don't know
Black
what to
Panthers
do.
in all white. You understand
all
me?
White. All
That's
white.
right.
They don't know what to do with that. Who does that? 1,000.
Yeah, it's going down.
Who knows anybody?
So our big 4-0.
1,000 women and warriors.
Yeah, it's gonna be a white tie affair, y'all.
What?
You could bring the bow ties out. You know, you could do the purple label. Whatever it is that you do, just make sure it gets done, because you know, we're gonna show up, and that boat is gonna grow wings. That's gonna be the solar disc. So you already know. We parting ways. Last time, she'll tell you, last time that we went to Mexico and we came back, they found Atlantis when we passed over.
Yeah.
2 days after that, they found Atlantis. So you already know when we go to Haiti and we got all that sacred energy with us, those sisters are just going to be holding their meditation and just cultivating that energy. You understand me? And the brothers are going to come forward in their regal selves, you know, and we're going to definitely concentrate some divine energy on the high seas, getting this water energy moving. And what we're doing right now is important, because this is creating the portal in the cycle for next cycle this year. So this is very important. It's very imperative that, you know, everything that's taking place at this particular moment takes place. So I have another hand up in the call queue. Let me go and get this caller real quick. You are definitely welcome to remain as you are. Caller from the 315-395-315. Caller. Peace.
Peace, peace.
Peace, greetings, brother. Welcome.
Peace.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, this is Rod Simeon. Peace, peace.
Peace.
I had a question for the host, because he's dropping a lot of information, and I wanted to know, because he definitely has a gift, but I want to know, when did he notice that he had a gift to interpret, you know, these different signs and symbols within the media, you know, or whatever?
Okay. Well, when I was when I came up, you know, my father, he was kind of raw with me when I came up. My dad, powerful Pan-Africanist and poet in Harlem. When I was coming up with him, he was just real. Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. Peace. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard. Okay. You know, he would sit me down often and tell me the truth. He would give me books, and he'd break a lot of things down to me, you know, at a very young age. So there was a lot that I was just aware of when I was young. My grandmother used to take me to the movies. That was kind of something that we did together. That's how I really got introduced to movies, was through her. She would take me once a week. As I got older, you know, I really got, like, infatuated with film. I just loved the fact of, you know, being able to jump dimensions and everything like that. And then I would start noticing.
You was working in the theater for how many years?
Oh yeah. See, that came later though. I didn't get there yet.
Okay.
You know, and I started like really enjoying the films, and then I started noticing, you know, little things, but I wouldn't really talk about it. I wouldn't really say nothing. It would just be in my mind. And then, like my brother just mentioned, eventually, you know, when I was in school, I got on the work program and I got a gig at a movie theater. I started working at the theater, so I was able to see movies for free and screenings early and stuff like that. And at the same time, you know, while I'm learning things from my dad, you know, learning things from my mom and things like that. My brothers started dropping, books on me and things like that, and just, little tidbits. You know how big brothers do. They don't tell you everything, but they give you little gems to see if you're going to bite. It wasn't until 2001, 2 weeks before the towers fell, I went up to New York to visit them, and they popped Phil Valentine in, and Valentine was just spazzing. And then he went into this whole set where he was talking about the X-Men. Now, I came up reading lots of comics, so when he started talking about the X-Men and he broke them down, my brain, exploded. I was never the same again. I remember going to sleep that night and having all these wild dreams, and when I woke up, I was never the same. And every time I went to go see a film from that point on, all those little things that I was, ignoring or I wasn't really paying attention to, they started coming to the front. And then it just got more and more refined, more and more sharp, until I got to, V for Vendetta. And when I got to V for Vendetta, when that came out, Black Thought had asked me to write something on it on this website he had. So I did that, and I did Superman Returns, and when I did both of those, I think Blue read them, and he was like, yo, you wildin'. So then after that, I started watching more and more movies, and we build, and I would just take it somewhere, and then he was like, look, this is now when the radio show was here. He was like, you got to come on and do this, and let people know how you be getting it in. And, it started about almost 4 years ago on the radio show, and, it just gets more and more refined. But it's, like he says, quantum entanglement, where it's more along the lines of what I'm doing. It's like they got the test in quantum mechanics where when they fire an electron, if it's being recorded, it affects the electron because it's being observed. So it's the same thing with these movies when we watch them. As we observe it based upon where our conscious is at and what we're projecting on that screen, because we're light too now. And everything we look at, we beam with light. As we beam in this light on this screen, we're affecting it. We're affecting it. And from the first Iron Man, Spider-Man, Blade, all that, that's always been an intention on mine, is to go in the direction of our stories being told correctly. And it just got to this point where now they're doing the Black Panther, and this, it's going to be real difficult for them to put their bullshit up in there, with how tight that is, Wow. So that's pretty much how it came. And I don't get me wrong. Now I do a lot of studying. I do a lot of studying and a lot of applications. So I get to confirm a lot of my theories. And then through my experimentations that I do dealing with other things, that helps my vision when I see things, because I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about. I see all the Easter eggs. So, that's what it is.
And one other thing that resonated when you was talking about the Great Spirit.
Oh, man, that blew my mind. See, I didn't know that before myself. That's something that I found out after the fact, and because I knew Jack Kirby didn't come up with that term. I was like, it got to be Swahili or something. It got to mean something powerful. I was hoping it didn't mean something like horrible, that they were using the channel, but I was like, that wasn't the vibe I got. Wakanda it just rolls off the tongue. It's dope. That's somewhere I would like to live. You know what I'm saying? And it come to find out that it represents unity. It's the grand unified theorem. It's the Gagut, like with Professor Oyibo. It's the Shabaka Stone. It's the Wakanda.
Wow. Well, do you think, like when Garvey was saying one aim, one God, one destiny?
Yeah, you got it.
And so
you got it, brother.
Do you think he was saying we all got to be, have that great spirit mentality, that oneness, that singularity that you were speaking about?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and not just Garvey and Noble Drew Ali and Malcolm and Patrice Lumumba. I mean, all these entities represents resurrections of that force, of that power, because we think because they got murdered or put in that situation that they didn't succeed, but it's like a relay race. You know, when you see a relay race and the cat rolls around and then he passes on the baton, just because he passes on the baton don't mean that he lost the race or he didn't get his job done. He carried it as far as he was supposed to carry it, and then he passed it on to the next one to complete whatever the race is. And that's what all these ancestors have been doing. They've been putting in the work, passing the baton, because there's a grand design. We as a people, we have to stop doubting the divine intelligence and know that this is all part of the grand design. And even though we're in a state now where it's karmic and it seems, like we're in the worst state that we've ever been and it's not going to get better, that's not true. It's still all part of the grand design, because when we do get to the state of Wakanda, like, we will appreciate it, I believe, more than we ever did in the history of our existence, which is a powerful feeling to have.
Now, you talk about the power of the black hole. So doesn't that give black power a whole different meaning?
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, when they was talking about black power, we was thinking more political minded. But the way you breaking it down, like this is that was something bigger that we.
Yeah, the power of blackness. Yes, right. Because if you take a bunch of black coal and put it under a whole lot of pressure, you get yourself a very priceless artifact that'll come out that bad boy, a multifaceted diamond, hardest substance on Earth. You know what I mean? Or you could take that carbon and end up creating graphene. Graphene, which is one of the strongest substances known to man. They said they could put an elephant on a pencil on top of a sheet of paper made out of graphene, and it won't puncture a hole in it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Or you could talk about the melanin that they were putting on the space shuttle. They put on the skyscraper windows, or the glasses that you posted blue the other day, the melalins. You know what I'm saying? Like the power of the black, because black, we have to look at all of this as light spectrum. The reason why the Hulk is so powerful is because he absorbs gamma rays. Gamma rays is the highest frequency of light on the spectrum that we know of. And the funny thing about black is black absorbs all light, not just the Roy G. Biv of the color spectrum. It absorbs gamma, it absorbs X-ray, it absorbs everything else in between. And to have cells in our body that's able to take carbon and copper, combine it and produce this substance so that we're able to take in the photons of the plasmic sun. I mean, that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So yes, black power. I mean, literally, because Blue posted it the other day. I talked about it last year with human photosynthesis. They've been creating LED lights. They've been powering LED lights from melanin. They got melanin batteries. You know what I'm saying? So it's literally
batteries,
like
melanin glasses to block out the blue light. Yeah.
Like Con Edison, like Georgia, what is it called? The Southern Company, Georgia Power. We get literally black power.
Wow.
Literal black power.
And another question, brother, do you know anything about black noise?
Black noise?
Yes.
No, fill me in, brother.
You know, like in that movie with Jodie Foster, Contact, right?
Contact, yes.
And they was dealing with the SETI program, right?
Right.
And they was trying to see if they could find coherent information in the universe.
Right.
So like Morse code and stuff like that, that's a form of black noise.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You notice in the movie when they heard that dot, 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 they almost lost their mind, right?
Uh-huh.
because black noise, they say, is the highest form of intelligence in the universe. It's coherent information.
That's
now,
it. And it's funny.
White noise, right?
Say that again.
You heard a white noise, right?
Yeah, I know, because that's what was playing when nobody believed her, when she was like, yo, I was gone for like 8 hours or something. They was like, nah, you fell right through the net into the water. You never went nowhere. And then they ended up, the only reason why they was able to find out that something happened because there was like 18 minutes of white noise that got recorded in that split second. It was something like that. So that white noise was how they figured out that she was telling the truth.
You see? The white noise that they seen was incoherent information, so they didn't know what was going on with her on the other side.
Just like in between the TV channels, it's the same thing.
Right. When there's no signal, they call it white noise. But actually, when the image come up, that's a form of black noise because it's a certain type of information that creates signs, symbols, and images, you see?
Right, as you're saying that it's just a component of the black noise.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's funny that you're bringing up Contact because the people who wrote that story and that was behind the science of that movie are the people that are doing Interstellar.
Yeah, wasn't it Carl Sagan?
Yeah, it was Carl Sagan, Kip Thorne, and a lady. I forget her name. I didn't take their names down, but it's the same team.